It is Asian and Pacific Islander month. So, and I got this from With Cindy, one of my favorite booktubers. She's doing Asian Read-A-Thon this month. And I have picked several books that were already on my like to read list, but I've compiled them into a list I'm going to be reading this month. So I'll do just like a quick 1 to 2 line explanation of each one and do the cover right up here. Nice space up here. And let's get started.
I don't really need a new friend, so spend your time with me. Looking for someone who can play though, wanna hang with me.
First one, we're gonna be basic because this was already a Netflix movie, so if like you really want to be lazy, you can just watch the movie. But To All the Boys I loved before, and so technically this is a 3-in-1 offer because it's a 3-book series. Essentially, what the main character's love letters get sent out by her little sister, and all these boys now have her love letters, and one of those love letters goes to her sister's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend because her sister just left on or to go for college. That the drama that you can expect from multiple people receiving a love letter that you had written in secret being sent out to everybody. This was one of the few. I loved the book. The book was fun. It was nice, but this is one of the few books that I think the execution of the movie, just in my opinion, nobody come for me, was better. I liked the actors they used to play them. I liked the little changes they did because there were moments in the book where this family is less supportive than they are less supportive in the book than they are in the movie. And I appreciated the family aspect of it more in the movie. Iron Widow, which has a love triangle in it without giving too much away, it's got a love triangle in it, as well as a polyamorous relationship. A little bit of a love triangle. I know people are going to be put off. Don't be put off by that because it's not like a regular love triangle. It has a solid ending to it this time, and like it makes sense. So, but essentially these are my notes down here, so I know what I'm reading. Okay, so this is a story rooted in revenge. This main character is ready to go all in, do whatever she can because her sister was killed by the system, and she is ready to take that system down, even if it takes her down with it. I'm here for it, always and forever. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. Axio is becoming one of my new favorite authors. She wrote Xoxo, and then I read that, I love that, and then The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, which is essentially about a girl who lives in a village where they make annual sacrifices to the sea god in hopes that he will calm the storms that are basically raking and ravaging through their village and killing a lot of people. So the legend behind it is, once he finds the proper bride, he will be kind of satiated and calmed down, and love heals all, that kind of thing. The main character goes and sacrifices herself because her brother is in love with the girl that is supposed to be sacrificed. And so for her brother's happiness and this girl's happiness, she sacrifices herself to take on this journey to free the sea god from this curse he's under. A Magic Steeped in Poison was a book that was as fantastic as the cover looked. It was amazing. Essentially, the teas in the kingdom are being poisoned. People don't know that, so they're drinking the tea. The main character accidentally brews a thing of tea for her mother and her sister and pours this tea, and she didn't know it was deadly, but it was deadly, and the mom and the sister drank it. The mom did unfortunately die, but the sister, who the mom brewed a quick counteractive kind of thing for it, brewed it for the sister in time, and the sister is still alive, but she is struggling, so the main character has to be getting this antidote, find something soon, so she enters a competition that kind of tests like the tea steeping, as well as like the magical ability with it, but like how you prepare the tea, what you can do with this tea, your mastery of it, and all that. And the prize is kind of like anything she wants. So if she can win that, she can hopefully get some help for her sister. Only read this one if you want to be absolutely shattered. But You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if it's wrong. I tried to listen to the pronunciation thing, and that is what it sounded like to me. You've Reached Sam was one of the first books that made me cry in a while. I wasn't like full on bawling, but like tears came out, and I was listening to it at work, which made it worse because I was trying really hard not to like have to explain to everybody I was crying over some fictional characters. But watching my face have different reactions is kind of normal for them now because I also listen to books while I'm at work. I am a seamstress. That's like I can still listen to books. That's why I get to listen to books at work. But essentially, You've Reached Sam is a story about a girl who loses her boyfriend before like college and stuff is about to start, and she doesn't know anything that's happening with college. She hasn't gotten any acceptance letters yet, and on top of that, her boyfriend is dead, and she is grieving, and she doesn't know how to handle it. So she tries to handle it by forgetting and acting like nothing ever happened. But she receives a call, or she calls him. I can't remember which one it is, but anyway. Their phones are linked where they can still contact each other even though he is dead, and it is a beautiful story about grief and recovery and different kinds of grieving as well. I loved it. Fantastic. 5 stars. Highly recommend. Xoxo is, I love the stories that are coming out now, especially the ones that include like K-pop idols or like celebrity kind of things, like not real celebrities, but like celebrities within the books, because they are so reminiscent of the Your Name, the Y/N era of Wattpad and fan fiction, like Tumblr, all that, because this story is literally like this dude in this really popular K-pop band ends up in this karaoke bar that the main character's uncle runs, and she challenges him to a singing competition, and she wins because karaoke machines base how well you hit the pitch, not how well you can actually sing. So she wins, and they end up going on a little adventure together, and then she ends up going to Korea and studying at a music school that he attends, or that one of his band members attend. No, he attends it too. She's not into K-pop. She's a classical instrumentalist, and she basically, her goal is to kind of find her spark and to get the college she wants, and she kind of does that through going through this journey of trying something else beyond perfection. Beautiful. I loved it. So many funny moments. So cute. And if you're a fan of those Your Name Wattpad stories and you want, like, you know, the good grammar and everything that comes with a published book, definitely check that out. 1,000 Steps Into Night. I had to reread a couple parts because I think it was just my own thing. I listen to audiobooks at 3 times the speed, so sometimes they phase out, and if I don't think it was important, I don't go back. But sometimes I miss important things and I have to go back. Anyway, so this girl gets cursed to become a demon. This village doesn't like demons, and it's kind of her journey gaining her own independence. Like everything to the beginning of time, the treatment of women has always been rooted in the mercy or the grace of their male counterparts, and this story kind of like takes that theme and runs with it, giving this girl all this power she didn't know she had, and she's afraid to grab onto it at first, and just like her learning to grab onto that. Essentially, she gets turned into a demon. She has to travel because she thinks she wants to not be a demon, but somebody else also wants her to be a demon without giving too much away. That's essentially what it's about. That was a terrible explanation of that book, but I'm still I just finished reading that one, so I'm still processing that one. So that one's not as good as some of the other ones. That one's not as clear as some of the other stories I'm going to give. Kpop Confidential. This is another like Your Name kind of story, but like not a bad way. It's not a bad way. I think those stories had like a really solid place on Wattpad and built a lot of Wattpad and Tumblr and Pinterest and all the fanfiction sites. I think they had a solid place and kind of like a reflection of what writing is going to be, because that was a very on time, or like in time, like live time progression of what the future writers are kind of looking for and wanting. So Kpop Confidential is about this Korean American girl. She is, you know, just the usual child of an immigrant, does really well in school, does what her parents tell her to do. She's very quiet. She doesn't tell everybody, or she doesn't tell anybody really, that she loves to sing. She wants to be a singer, and she kind of just like holds that in, burying it deep, just doing what her mom wants her to do because she knows her mom sacrificed a lot for her. Well, these K-pop idol auditions come to town, and she is the only one out of thousands to get noticed, to get picked, and to have a contract drawn up, and they want her to sign and come out and train to be a K-pop idol in 3 months. She's not had any training up to that point, so you know, squeezing a lot of training in 3 months is hard and difficult, and if she quits, her family will be sued for the amount that they put into her training. But if she debuts, then she gets to have that money worked off when she debuts. Daughter of the Moon Goddesses is getting an entire review, I think, next week. I love this book. 5-star books. Essentially, Noah knows that the banished moon goddess has a daughter, and the daughter is doing everything in her power to break the enchantment on her mother and free her from her imprisonment to the moon and give her freedom again. Essentially, that's it. Fantastic character. Love the whole story. It's very fast-paced, so if you don't like anything like lasting too long or dragging out too long, this is the book for you. So that kind of was the first half of my list. That is all the books I have read. So these ones are going to be a little bit more vague because I don't know what they're about, so I just kind of know what I've heard and what I've read. So, Spin of the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim is essentially a Mulan retelling, but like with sewing involved. Essentially, the goal is to make 3 dresses of the stars, the moon, and the sun, and you can only be a guy, you can only be a man to enter this contest, so she has to pretend she's a man, and go on this journey where she finds, you know, all the fabrics and materials she needs to make these 3 dresses to win the contest she's in. Made in Korea. I started this one. I don't know if I'm going to continue it yet. It's YA, so I'm iffy on some YA, school-centered YAs, just because. This one is about a brother and sister who are kind of running like a K-beauty store in their school, and they have like a business thing, they're allowed to do it, and then somebody else moves in and they start accidentally taking clientele from this brother and sister duo, and it's kind of like a rivals to lovers kind of thing is what I'm gathering. Not 100%, but I will update you. Kpop Revolution is the sequel to Kpop Confidential, and essentially it is dealing with the fallout and the decisions that were made in book 1. She has not yet, without giving too much away, it is about all of the things that happened in book 1, the fallout, the consequences, and the rewards going on in this book. I Love You So Mochi. Other than having the cutest name and the cutest cover, it is about a girl who loves fashion. Her mom does not. If you are the child of an immigrant parent, you know what that means for you. It means you won't do it until you like wake up at their house. You don't say no to your mom and dad. This girl says no to her mom and coincidentally her grandparents that she like hasn't met, the family hasn't really talked to in a while, invites her out to Japan to spend the summer with them. So she takes that real quick because, you know, that's better than dying by the hand of your parent. And she goes out not only to kind of like reconnect with family, reconnect with her culture, but also to kind of find her ultimate self. Not here to be liked. As far as I know, it's like an academic rivals to lovers is what I've gathered. But this girl who is everything you would imagine being the editor-in-chief for like head of any kind of school group or club or president of the school or class. There's that girl, and then there's the jock who like literally just decided to run for the same position she wanted, and like he's looking pretty good at it because he has a lot of charisma, he's not dumb, and people like him. So that kind of makes her doubt herself and all her hard work, where this guy kind of just like walked in and stole her thunder. So dealing with self-confidence issues and finding your own place. Shine by Jessica Jung. I didn't know this when I first picked this book out, but apparently it is by one of the members of, Girls' Generation. Former lead singer of Girls' Generation is the author of this book, and the main character of this girl is recruited to a K-pop agency where she's supposed to debut, and there's just like, there's 2 rules, be perfect and don't date, and of course, every main character has to break the only 2 rules there. The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water by Zen Cho. A collective group of thieves has to protect a sacred object, and because things can't just go according to plan, she entangles herself into a lot more complicated things. The summary on the back wasn't all that forthcoming. Still gonna read it. It's only like a 4-hour book, so it's like really short. The Wild Ones. It's got a beautiful cover, girls with superpowers. I'm down. That's all I need to know. almost American girl. Now, I love a story that has any kind of mix. I am half Mexican, and when you're mixed, you're not quite enough to be either or, so a lot of times you get excluded from both. And essentially the story is about this girl that's just kind of like that in-between purgatory area where you're not enough Mexican or Asian in this case, and you're not enough American. So like, where do you go? You're just like in this weird limbo purgatory thing. So that's what that story's about. A Match Made in Mindy is about a 15-year-old girl whose family comes from like a bunch of matchmakers, and the 15-year-old daughter seems to have like that gift. And so what she does, she's trying to make that paper, makes an app and starts like matching up people at her school. But she matches up like this wallflower girl and like this jock dude, and like that's gonna break the social hierarchy because, you know, high school. The last one on my list is Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn. And I forgot to write anything down for that, so let me pull up the whatchamajiggle for that. Okay, so that sounds cool. I had read it before, and that's why it's on my tablet. That's why I had gotten it, but I couldn't remember which one it was. Anyway, so this one is main character is from a family of monsters. The cute boy at work is a monster slayer. We can see where that's an issue, and I'm just gonna read this part because I like the way it's written. To save herself and her family, Joanne will have to do what she fears most, embrace her own monstrousness, because in the story she is not the hero. I love that because I love stories that are based on perspective, because in our minds we are all heroes of our own story. The villain thinks they're doing what's right in their eyes, or what is just in their eyes, and that is why they're like that dead set on doing it. Everybody in this situation thinks they're right for their own reasons. Like, if anything is told from like the villain's perspective, the hero is the villain to them. So I already love that. That's amazing. So those are 20 book recs for the month of May. You can read them, review them, boost up minorities, and let's just have a good fun old time, because why not? Why not? Try something new. If you're not into books beyond the norm, try something not based in Western myth, legend, and try something else, because a lot of them are a lot richer than ours, because America hasn't been around that long. So when you read something from another place, it has such a rich years, like millennia, forever behind it, that builds on those stories, and it's word of mouth storytelling, and there's something beautiful about that in stories, I think. Anyway, those are my recs. See you next week. Have a good day. Peace. That's my book about a girl that goes to London for a study abroad trip, and accidentally falls in love, but like doesn't want to admit it, and also makes a best friend, and like is also trying to get rid of her, or trying to deal with her trauma and her mother's loss. So peace.
I don't really need a new friend, so spend your time with me. Looking for someone who can play though, wanna hang with me. I'm not really looking for a friend, so spend your time with me. Looking for someone not afraid of